Hey everyone, and welcome to Cooking Companion TV. I'm Jenna Edwards, and this is a recipe demo of fish karahi taught to me in a chicken version by my best friend's mother-in-law. I'm super proud of this one, so give it a thumbs up. I'm using salmon collars, but you use whatever you want to use. The sauce is so good that anything goes. Now, once we start cooking, it moves pretty fast, so prep all your ingredients first. We need 3/4 teaspoon of paprika, or use chili if you like a lot of heat, half a tablespoon of turmeric, a pinch or sprinkle of crushed red pepper, 1 heaping teaspoon of ground coriander, an optional half teaspoon of cumin, and a pinch of salt. Mince garlic and measure out a heaping teaspoon and save any extra by storing it in a small container and covering it with oil. Now for fresh ginger. It's easily peeled by scraping it off with a spoon. Who'da thunk it? And then mince 2 teaspoons, which is about 2 inches of ginger. And you'll need another tablespoon of ginger to sprinkle on top of the nearly finished dish. So just go ahead and measure those out separately. Dice 2 fresh Roma tomatoes. If your tomatoes look especially weak or bland, measure out 1 cup of diced tomatoes from a can and add them to a bowl with a 1/4 cup of yogurt. Slice a serrano chili. I'm using jalapeno because that is what I have. And I'm only slicing half of it because I can't handle a lot of heat. So use as much or as little as your taste buds can tolerate. And thinly slice 2 medium onions into half moons. In a wide pan, heat 2 tablespoons of oil over medium-high heat. Add the paprika, turmeric, crushed red pepper, coriander, cumin, and salt, and bloom for 1 to 2 minutes until those gorgeous spices are fragrant. Now stir in the ginger and the garlic and let them bloom with the spices for literally just 1 minute. Now, just after adding the ginger and garlic, I lowered the heat to medium to avoid burning the garlic. Now let's sear the fish. Keep the heat on medium and let the fish sit for about 1.5 minutes. At this level of heat, the spices have melted into a syrup and they help the salmon caramelize into a beautiful sweet crust. Now flip the fish and cover with the onions. The idea is that the onions should release water to keep the fish from burning in the pan and will keep the fish from drying out. So cover, lower the heat to a low medium, and let it sit for 8 to 10 minutes to sweat the onions. Now keep an eye on it, and when the onions look positively worn out, move on. Try to flip the fish again so it doesn't stick or burn. This is where the decision to use collars starts to look like a bad one because those little thin ends don't cooperate. They want to stick and it makes it all fall apart. Now add the tomatoes and yogurt. I recommend stirring up the tomatoes and yogurt before adding to the pan because with fish, you won't be able to stir it up without breaking up the fish. I did not think about that before I added them. So you just got to deal with it sometimes. So spread it out and cover, lowering the heat a touch to medium-low and letting it sit for another 10 minutes or so. The tomatoes should break down, releasing more water. I flipped the fish again, which may not be necessary for you. You can probably just keep testing it with a spatula to make sure it's not stuck. I like my sauce a little loose, and I know it'll thicken even more as it cools, so I'm basically done cooking. At this point, I'll add in the sliced jalapeno to flavor the sauce while I chop a 1/4 cup of parsley or cilantro to be, more appropriate. Sprinkle in the herbs and that extra tablespoon of fresh ginger and let the residual heat just do its thing. I'll serve it with more ginger or yogurt and herbs. And now for some personal notes. If you're cooking for one, and you're just using 1 serving of fish, I would still cook the whole sauce recipe because it's really tasty. I also wouldn't worry too much about trying to maintain the integrity of the fish fillet. If it starts falling apart, just let it. Alternatively, you can sear the fish in the spice syrup at the beginning and then remove it while you sweat the onions, and then add the tomatoes and the yogurt, letting them all cook together, releasing a lot of water, and then add the fish to more or less poach it in the onion and tomato yogurt paste. Now, at that point, I'd just cover it and let it poach and steam for 10-ish minutes, depending on the fish you're using, until it's done. So that is it for this recipe demo of fish karahi. Get the ingredient list below or at cookingcompaniontv.com/karahi. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe to this channel for more demos just like this. I'm Jenna Edwards, and thanks for watching.